Beneath a sky where fate itself seems to waver, the path of cultivation grows ever more treacherous. In the last chapter, the winds of karma stirred as Wang Lin stood at the edge of yet another trial, where past grudges and hidden forces quietly converged. Each step he takes now echoes with the weight of countless lives, and the line between hunter and hunted begins to blur. Now, in recap, Renegade Immortal chapters 6 from 49, 650, the storm deepens. Secrets long buried begin to surface, and the fragile balance of power trembles on the verge of collapse. In this ruthless world where strength dictates destiny, one wrong move could mean eternal damnation, or a chance to seize the heavens themselves. As shadows gather and killing intent thickens in the air, the question remains: will Wang Lin bend the tides of fate once more? Or will he be swallowed by the very forces he seeks to defy? Let us step forward into the legend. Before the abyss could reveal its true terror, the hunter became the hunted. The emerald-scaled dragon plunged into the pit without hesitation, its ancient instincts blind to the doom waiting below. The moment its massive body crossed into the depths, an unseen force seized it. A violent suction surged upward like a devouring storm. The dragon roared. Lightning erupted from its body in wild bursts. Bolts as thick as pillars slammed into the cliff walls, shattering stone and sending torrents of rock cascading into the darkness below. Yet the deeper it fell, the stronger the pull became. The storm below was no ordinary force. It was a devourer of all things. The dragon struggled fiercely, thunder crackling around it as it fought against the invisible grip. Just as it gathered strength to surge upward and escape, its eyes shifted. There, clinging to the wall below, it saw Wang Lin. A furious roar tore from its throat. In that instant, reason vanished. Escape was abandoned. Rage took over. The dragon twisted its body and charged straight toward him. Wang Lin's face darkened. Inside, he cursed coldly. This beast, it sensed danger, yet still chose vengeance over survival. So much hatred, he muttered inwardly. Without hesitation, he ceased the flow of celestial spiritual energy within him. Instantly, the suction seized him. His body dropped sharply, sinking downward in a sudden plunge. The dragon's charge missed by a hair, but it did not relent. It turned and pursued him deeper into the abyss. One man, one dragon. Both dragged into the unknown. As they descended, Wang Lin's senses sharpened. The pull from below was intensifying rapidly, like a storm gathering its full fury. Behind him, the dragon roared again. Its jaws opened wide, a sphere of lightning condensed, brilliant, violent, and filled with destructive force. Then it fired. The lightning sphere tore through the air like divine punishment, carrying the might of an army. It surged toward Wang Lin with unstoppable force. Wang Lin's gaze turned icy. He prepared to evade. But suddenly, the lightning sphere faltered. It halted mid-flight. Then, as if seized by an unseen hand, it shifted and plunged downward. Wang Lin's expression changed instantly. An overwhelming force surged from below, far beyond anything before. No more hesitation. He slapped his bag of holding. 3 swords shot out, flashing with sharp brilliance. They embedded themselves into the cliff wall, forming a stabilizing formation. Wang Lin grabbed one tightly. The moment his hand locked onto the sword, the suction erupted. The lightning sphere was the first to surrender. It was dragged violently downward, vanishing into the abyss. Its fading glow illuminated the pit below for a brief moment. Wang Lin looked down and saw nothing. No bottom, no end, only endless darkness. Then the light vanished. Silence returned. Behind him, the ancient thunder dragon trembled. For the first time, fear appeared in its eyes. The beast no longer pursued Wang Lin. Instead, it struggled desperately to rise. It remembered. Deep within its ancient inherited memories, it had seen something like this before. It roared fiercely, lightning engulfing its body as it forced itself upward, resisting the pull just enough to climb 30 feet. Trying to run? Wang Lin's eyes gleamed coldly. If not for this dragon, he would never have been forced into such a deadly place. If not for its relentless pursuit, he would already be gone. Now, escape was no longer possible. "Stay!" his voice thundered. Celestial spiritual energy surged through him as he unleashed the celestial stop spell. The dragon froze. For a single moment. In the past, such a pause would mean nothing to it. But here, it was everything. The dragon roared unwillingly as the suction seized it once more, dragging it downward over 100 feet. "You won't escape," Wang Lin said coldly. He himself was being pulled down, the swords embedded in the wall scraping violently as they were dragged along, carving deep scars into the stone. Stop! Again the spell activated. The dragon struggled wildly, lightning flickering in chaotic bursts. It tried to ascend, but every attempt was crushed. Each time it rose slightly, Wang Lin would halt it. Surrounded by the relentless suction, all resistance became futile. Its attacks were useless. Lightning it launched was torn away before reaching him, swallowed by the abyss. All it could do was stare at Wang Lin in despair. Then the suction intensified. Suddenly, it multiplied several times over. The force surged like madness. Wang Lin's arms trembled violently, as if they would be torn apart. He clenched his teeth and held on. The three swords scraped deeper, carving long gashes into the wall. But it wasn't enough. The resistance was failing. Without delay, Wang Lin sent a portion of his divine sense into his bag of holding. A celestial sword and a half-moon blade shot out instantly. Embedding themselves beneath his feet, he stepped onto them. Now supported by 5 blades, he continued descending, but with control. The grinding of metal against stone echoed endlessly. 5 deep scars trailed behind him along the wall. As for the dragon, it was no longer whole. The immense pressure stretched its form until it resembled a stream of green mist. Its body was distorted, pulled into a long, flowing shape. Faint green light flickered within it, illuminating the abyss faintly. "Go down." A strange female voice echoed within Wang Lin's mind once more, emanating from his bag. His expression turned grim. Then his gaze shifted downward. Using the faint glow of the dragon's essence, he saw something. A shadow, a protrusion from the wall. As the green light strengthened momentarily, the shape became clear. A massive rock platform, extending outward, nearly 100 feet wide. And upon it, a transfer array. Wang Lin's pupils shrank, but before he could observe further, the green light faded and the platform vanished back into darkness. "Transfer array," he murmured. If only he could release his divine sense. But there was no time. Suddenly, he felt it. The celestial sword beneath his feet disappeared. Then the half-moon blade followed. "There's a crack!" Joy surged through him. Without hesitation, he leaped toward the wall. His body slipped into an opening, a narrow fissure, barely 10 feet wide. Inside, he entered instantly, then swiftly retrieved all 5 swords. At that moment, the dragon, now reduced to green mist, saw him vanish into the crack. It struggled violently. The mist churned, condensing back into the shape of a dragon. With a desperate roar, it charged toward the fissure. This time, it no longer sought to devour Wang Lin. It sought refuge. Its entire body surged with thunder energy as it pushed forward with everything it had. But the suction was too strong. It could not reach the crack. Then, a ruthless decision. The dragon split itself in 2. The lower half was dragged into the abyss. The upper half seized that fleeting moment and surged toward the crack. Inside, Wang Lin's eyes turned icy. Relief had just touched him. But now danger returned. All he needed was one stop spell, one moment, and the dragon would be lost forever. The dragon knew this. It opened its mouth, preparing to unleash lightning. A race. Who would act first? Dragon or man? But Wang Lin had already seen everything. The dragon had sacrificed half its body. Most of its power was being used just to resist the suction. This was its weakest state. Wang Lin clenched his teeth. Without hesitation, he closed his eyes. His origin soul burst forth. At the exact moment the dragon entered the crack and prepared to attack, Wang Lin's origin soul devoured it whole. The dragon froze, completely stunned. Once, Wang Lin had been a devourer of souls. Though he had abandoned that path over time, now he returned to it. The origin soul expanded massively. After devouring the dragon, it returned to his body. Then, explosion, a violent surge erupted within his soul. Even half a thunder dragon's spirit was terrifying beyond measure. Wang Lin immediately activated the soul-devouring technique, rapidly refining it. Lightning coursed through him, inside and out, through flesh, through bone. The crack shielded him from the suction. Now, all his focus turned inward. His origin soul grew, not in size, but in essence. Lightning wrapped around it. Within it, the form of a long ancient thunder dragon stretched like veins, its face twisted in agony, yet still fierce. Branches of energy extended from it, reaching every corner of Wang Lin's soul. A transformation had begun, a forbidden one. Even beings like the All-Seer would never dare attempt this. Ancient thunder dragons were not ordinary creatures. They were born from thunder itself, favoured by the heavens. Once they had governed the power of lightning. To devour such a being was to swallow the sky itself. How could any soul endure such force? Yet within danger lay boundless opportunity. Lightning gathered in Wang Lin's body. Thunder roared endlessly, and within his origin soul a trace of thunder was born. His origin underwent a change that could shake heaven and earth. Perhaps it would not immediately raise his cultivation, but it opened paths never before imagined, a soul infused with thunder. Even the All-Seer had never witnessed such a thing. But the dragon had not surrendered. Within Wang Lin's soul, it struggled violently. Its resistance shook his very being. And then it launched its counterattack, before the heavens could roar, before the storm could truly awaken. Something within Wang Lin had already begun to change. His body lifted slowly from the ground, as if unseen hands were guiding him into the air. Each strand of his hair drifted upward, trembling under an invisible force. Then lightning erupted. It burst from his body in wild arcs, striking outward in every direction. The cliff walls trembled as bolts scattered and crackled across the stone. Inside him, his origin soul was no longer calm. It had become a sea of thunder. And within that storm, the ancient thunder dragon refused to bow. It struggled fiercely. It resisted with primal fury. The more it fought, the more violent the lightning became, its power growing with every breath of defiance. The pressure mounted. Wang Lin's origin soul trembled on the brink of collapse. Lightning surged through it like blades, tearing at its very essence. Under such force, an ordinary cultivator would have already shattered. But Wang Lin endured. With sheer will alone, he resisted. Then suddenly, his origin soul opened its eyes. Lightning flashed within them. In that instant, he was no longer just himself. He was like the thunder dragon itself, cold and untamed. A realization struck him like a bolt from the sky. If he remained inside his body, this uncontrollable storm would destroy him from within. Without hesitation, his origin soul burst out of his physical form. He acted with absolute resolve. Reaching into himself, into the very core of his being, he thrust his hand into his own origin soul. His fingers grasped the thunder dragon, and with a brutal pull, he tore away a fragment of it. A deafening roar erupted. The dragon's cry shook the void, and in response, Wang Lin's origin soul exploded with lightning. Bolts lashed outward, striking the surrounding stone with endless crackling echoes. But Wang Lin did not waver. His gaze turned icy. With his left hand he formed countless restrictions, seals layered with intricate control. They descended upon the fragment of the thunder dragon, locking it down piece by piece. Then he reached in again, another portion, another seal, again and again. With external support reinforcing his fragile origin soul, he repeated the cycle: tear, seal, devour. Time lost meaning. Moments stretched into years, years dissolved into silence. Wang Lin sank deeper and deeper into the process, completely oblivious to the outside world. Meanwhile, his physical body began to decay, its luster faded, its vitality dimmed, flesh withered slowly from bone, yet death did not claim him. Instead, his body entered a suspended state, a fragile stillness preserving the final trace of life within. Days passed, years passed, until one day. The thunder dragon within his origin soul no longer thrashed as wildly as before. It still resisted, but its strength had weakened. Across its massive form, countless restrictions shimmered, layer upon layer, interwoven into a grand seal. A seal meant to bind a dragon. And Wang Lin's origin soul, it had changed. Over the years it had shrunk. Now it stood only 3 feet tall, no larger than a nascent soul. But its presence was far more terrifying. It no longer appeared pure and translucent. Instead, it pulsed with endless lightning. Within it, millions of silver currents twisted and surged, like serpents of thunder coiling in eternal motion. Then, his eyes opened. A deep rumble echoed through the void. 2 streaks of lightning shot from his gaze, like dragons bursting forth into the darkness before vanishing without a trace. His origin soul moved. It returned to his body. Floating above the withered shell, Wang Lin looked down upon himself. Lightning flickered in his eyes. Cold, detached, indifferent. His body was nothing but bones wrapped in dying skin. Every muscle had long since faded away. Only a faint spark of vitality between his brows proved that life still lingered. Slowly, his origin soul descended. As it attempted to re-enter, a barrier appeared. It resisted him. For a brief moment the path was blocked, but then the resistance faded, the barrier dissolved, and he entered. In that instant, lightning surged through his entire body. It raced across his meridians, flooded his limbs, and reignited every fibre of his being. Before the eye could even follow, muscle regenerated, flesh returned, his body restored itself completely, though he appeared slightly thinner than before. Wang Lin exhaled deeply. A stream of grey air left his mouth, laced with faint arcs of lightning. His eyes gleamed like flashes across a stormy sky. And then he began to think. This journey nearly cost me everything, he murmured inwardly, but what I gained exceeds imagination. A pause. Whether it is fortune or disaster, I cannot yet tell. His gaze grew distant. My origin soul has completely transformed. It is no longer what it once was. It feels more like a strand of divine retribution lightning. He fell silent, pondering further. Then slowly he raised his head and looked toward the crack leading outside. An origin soul of lightning, he whispered. How curious. If someone were to try and destroy it now, it would be no different from attempting to destroy divine punishment itself. Though his cultivation remained at the early ascendant stage, something had changed. He had gained the power of thunder. Raising his right hand, lightning gathered instantly within his palm. It condensed, forming a sphere of crackling energy. Inside, violent explosions echoed. The ball trembled, unstable. Then, collapse. Without hesitation, Wang Lin opened his mouth and swallowed it. A faint redness appeared on his face, but quickly faded. His expression turned thoughtful once more. But what exactly is my origin soul now? Confusion flickered in his eyes. He had never imagined that devouring even half of the Thunder Dragon would lead to such a strange transformation. He had not fully absorbed it, only 1/5 had truly merged with him. The rest remained sealed inside. After a moment of contemplation, he began testing his abilities. Spell after spell, each one flowed as before. Even the underworld river responded to his command. Only then did he relax slightly. Yet, something was different. Though the spells appeared unchanged, if one looked closely, there was thunder within them. A single thread of terrifying lightning hidden in every technique. Wang Lin frowned. This was undoubtedly an increase in strength, and not a minor one. With his current power, he could stand among the strongest of mid-stage ascendant cultivators, with his treasures combined. Even late-stage ascendant experts were no longer beyond his reach, and yet something felt wrong, as though something had been overlooked. He stood there, thinking for a long time. The feeling lingered, unshaken. At last, he rose and walked toward the crack's exit. Darkness stretched endlessly outside. A strange suction force howled through the air, like ghosts wailing in agony. The closer he moved, the louder it became. Then, as he gazed outward, a realization struck him like lightning. His eyes widened. Why was there a barrier when my origin soul returned? His expression turned grim. The scattered devil remained sealed within him. Possession was impossible, nor had his origin soul been taken. Then, the issue lies with the origin soul itself. Determined, he attempted to send his origin soul out once more. But the moment he tried, his face changed. It cannot leave. He staggered back several steps and sat down, crossing his legs. Again and again he tried. Each attempt failed. Finally he opened his eyes, calm, unshaken. This barrier again. It prevents my origin soul from exiting. Is this the price of mutation? He took a slow, steady breath. Enough. For now, I will not dwell on it. His hand moved. With a light pat on his storage bag, a purple token appeared in his palm. His gaze sharpened. Let me see. What kind of spell could condense from that mist? The storm had not yet ended. It had only just begun.